Guys, is Trump dying? What was that? I thought I just heard a... Am I crazy? Never mind. I'm going... Don't mind me, guys. Okay. We heard it too? It was a train, yes. Okay. Wrong. He's the healthiest he has ever been. He just needs to eat a few more Big Macs and a dozen Diet Cokes and he'll be fine. Based. And true. Oh, we're burning... Or we're banning American flag burning now, I see. President Trump signed an executive order Monday targeting the burning of the American flag. An act of political protest from court has ruled is protected under the First Amendment. You gonna watch that video where that guy watches Hasan stream start to finish for 1 week straight? Maybe. Where is it?
President Donald Trump speaking from the Oval Office, signing new executive orders on several measures, including cashless bail and flag burning. President Trump also discussed the potential of mobilizing the National Guard in Chicago and other cities and criticized the use of the auto pen by the previous administration. For more, let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez for the headlines. Good morning, Gabe. So first, let's start with the big topic, cashless bail. Cashless bail, of course, allows a defendant to be released from jail while they're awaiting trial. That's based on their commitment to appear in court instead of paying a specific cash amount. I know some supporters of cashless bail says it avoids penalizing low-income defendants. But, Gabe, what is the president and White House saying about this order and their hopes for what it will do, not just for Washington, but the rest of the country?
Well, you know, St. Clay, the president and his administration have been railing against cashless bail for quite some time. It's something that Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney here in D.C., has been talking about a lot in the last couple of days. And this executive order the president just signed aims to eliminate cashless bail here in D.C. by potentially withholding federal funds from this jurisdiction. And also, he ordered his attorney general to look at different jurisdictions across the country and identify those that have cashless bail policies and explore ways to withhold some federal funding. Now, that is something that the administration has done for a variety of issues, trying to explore ways to stop federal funding or to the threat.
Couldn't they just set bail at $1? Like, what would the, that Hasan video is incredible. We'll probably watch out for this. But, like, also, just so people don't know, because people, I think people think that bail is like a get out of jail free card, or not free, but whatever the bail is. But, like, the judge has to allow you to post bail. Like, the judge can deny bail. Like, these are decisions that are left up to judges. It's not like a get out of jail free for every single type of person. So I don't even know what the obsession is with this.
Of withholding federal funds in order to for those jurisdictions to agree or to go along with their policy. But that is just one of the executive orders that he signed this morning, St. Clair.
All right, Gabe, the other order pertained to flag burning. What should we know there?
Well, look, this is something that should come as no surprise. The president has railed against that as well and has talked about how protesters or people that are protesting his administration might burn flags. And he, as part of his executive order, he wants there to be at least a 1-year penalty for anyone who has burned the flag, and also takes a closer look at revoking visas for potentially any people from outside the country that are here who take part in these protests, and the president cracking down on this by signing that executive order.
I'm sure we'll bring some free speech questions and concerns. Gabe, the president, interestingly, saying that I assume we will try to codify all of this by Congress. Gabe, the president also made several pointed remarks at multiple Democrat governors, including Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. What should we know about that? And what's the latest from the White House on potentially mobilizing the National Guard in other cities?
Well, look, St. Clay, this is something that the president has been kind of ramping up the pressure on these Democrat-led cities over the last several days. On Friday in the Oval Office, he brought up the issue of whether he might send National Guard troops to other cities, including Chicago. He's mentioned Baltimore. He's mentioned New York City as well as Oakland. Now, over the last weekend, Several Democrat leaders, including Governor Pritzker of Illinois, Governor Wes Moore in Maryland, have pushed back against that and said that the president and National Guard troops should not be used across the country, essentially militarizing domestic law enforcement. They pushed back strongly against that. Well, the president, as you just...
Okay. Where is, oh my God. Wait, where's the, somebody link me the pictures of Trump's hand today. Jesus Christ. Wait, is there... What is the video for this? Looks like Dumbledore's hand. I already made that joke yesterday. Fuck you. Or 2 days ago, sorry.
And we won in a landslide. So they obviously lost their power. I mean, it's impossible to imagine that when you get 97%. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way,
Illinois would be a great example.
That's his listening face, by the way. I don't even know what this guy's saying, or I know what he's saying right now just by his face. The guy's explaining to Trump what this executive order is, because Trump has no fucking idea.
What this executive order does, it charges your
Bro.
Attorney General with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies, and then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
so what area does it cover?
He doesn't even know. He has no idea.
Has a cashless bail policy, so some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America have
Almost all of
adopted.
them, right?
Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bill. You don't even have to go to court sometimes. No, Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They threw him out of the family business and he becomes governor. Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with us. But this is just, we got to bring our country back. Okay?
Wants pictures. He's such a loser.
It's a big one.
Also on the issue of cashless bail, sir, this is a DC specific executive order. In addition to the measures that we're taking that are quite similar to what we're doing around the country, in DC in particular, the objective is holding as many criminal defendants in federal custody and subjecting them to federal charges as possible. That means that they'll be held pre-trial in federal jail as opposed to just being cut back out on the streets due to a cashless bail policy.
Okay? And we have the room. And by the way, the prison they have in DC is horrible. It's horrible. People were subjected to live in that dog trap for so long, so unfairly. I have stories, you'll be hearing about them. That prison is horrible. Okay?
This is an executive order that contains...
Oh, he's talking about the J6ers. He's so mad that any of them... Why would you... Is it supposed to be like a bragging point? Like, oh, the jail's so horrible, they're going to be held in there. Like, these are just for people that have been charged with crimes, not even convicted.
A number of additional measures relating to crime and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. It charges, for example, your Secretary of Defense with establishing specialized units in both the D.C. National Guard and the National Guard units around the country, specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. It charges all of your various federal law enforcement agencies with hiring additional personnel to allow them to surge personnel to Washington, D.C. to deal with the current emergency here. It does a number of other things in that space, and it also asks the Attorney General to look at D.C. Metropolitan Police general orders that have currently impeded law enforcement efforts in the city, and to potentially look at unwinding those that are stopping the police from doing their job effectively.
And are we going to ask this to be codified by Congress, all of these things?
I think we could potentially, yes, sir.
I think so. I think we should. I think we'll get it. I think Democrats will vote. Well, it's hard to believe. They might not, but I think Democrats will actually vote for this. There's no auto pen that can do that. Right? Look at that, Pam. Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can?
Did some fucking loser almost clap? Did you hear this guy?
Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can write like that? Nobody.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. That's the other thing. I assume we're looking at the whole auto pen scam.
Sir.
Because the person that ran it said he spoke to it briefly twice about nothing. That means that all those pardons that he gave to some very bad people, very unpatriotic people, very evil people, it looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Because number one, you shouldn't use an auto pen very specifically. But if you do, it has to be a very good reason. And they have to know that the president wanted it. The president didn't want this. The president didn't know he was alive, okay? He never approved any of this stuff.
Jesus.
He wasn't for open borders and all the other things. He was never for open borders. I've known Biden a long time. He was never very sharp, but he was
Hold on a
never in
sec.
favor of
I got blood on this.
open borders and all of the other things he did to destroy our country. Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your Attorney General.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement.
Incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't
I hope they use that language on the EO that I just signed.
get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this.
Half of them, by the way, yes.
I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that They jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor.
Yeah, do they? The president of Europe?
I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented, and it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive.
Now it's the hottest country anywhere.
You called Kamala Harris a communist. During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical? And is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example, as a real estate person, if I have an agreement and I have any form of
Policy.
yeah, sure.
A bit hypocritical. And is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. If people come in and they need something, as an example, as a real estate person, if I have an agreement and I have any form of a stopgap where I can stop somebody from doing something, right? I have a covenant in an agreement, and they come to me and they say, would like to do something, but you have us restricted. If I do that, they usually have to pay. Now, in the case of Intel, it was interesting, but I hope I'm going to have many more cases like it. Intel came in. I met with the gentleman. I had a lot of respect for him. He came in under a little bit of a cloud. I liked his story. I thought he was good. I think he really means to do a good job with Intel. I said, I'd like to ask whether or not you'd give the United, because the story, a lot of people said I invested in Intel. I didn't invest, but I invest my heart in it and my soul because I want the country to be strong. But I said,
What the fuck does that mean?
I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it, a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal. And I just made $10 billion or $11 billion for the United States of America.
Did he? How do we get that money? Did he sell it on the stock market immediately after, or what? Oh my God, dude.
Who is Lindy Somek, who is from the Saginaw Ojibwe Nation, and she's going to deliver our land acknowledgement today. Lindy.
Bonjour, Lindy Somek, Nindichnikaz, Amek Dodam, Saginaw Chippewa Dojaba, Anishinaabe Kwe and Dow. Good morning, DNC members, friends, and relatives. Let's talk about the land for a second. The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis.
Can't hear? Yeah, I don't know why. This is the quietest clip that I've ever had uploaded on the internet of all time. I had this boosted to the max. I don't know why it's so quiet.
The Dakota cared for the lands, lakes, and the Wakatonka, the Great River, the Mississippi River, for thousands of years before colonization. This land was not claimed or traded. It's a part of a history of broken treaties and promises. And in many ways, we still live in a system built to suppress Indigenous peoples' cultural and spiritual history. As Democrats,
Let's leave that shit up at the Canadian border, okay? It's quiet for the tradition of Native people? Okay, based.
Weirdo.
Oh, my good friend.
Lots of shitting on Ian for being a total dope, idiot, weirdo. Lots of Destiny follow-up, which we're shooting in a VOD. That means a VOD on demand. We'll be shooting after this episode ends to be brought to you post-haste. And thank you to everybody for enjoying the VODs. Everybody's, people are turning around on the VODs. They're saying, we love VODs.
They're doing wonderful things with the VODs.
The VODs are, these are the best VODs. Lots of shitting on
I hope CPS takes his kids. I'll say it. I do. And I hope they cry about it. And then CPS can come for my kid. And then CPS can take Dan's kids. You know what? All of our children at the end of the day will just be fostered by Child Protective Services. Okay? And that'll just be... And then we can all relieve ourselves. He's just going to be a rehash of every other fucking video made. God, it's so crazy how this fucking retard, as he's spamming on Instagram and coughing and dying of whatever diseases he has, is telling me like, oh, Destiny, I used to like you so much and you need help and blah, blah, blah. It's like the exact shit that Hasan was doing to him. Good memes. It's all good. I like it. I love the attention. Oh, this is the next level trolling? Now there's just absolutely no volume on the videos. Okay.
They took that guy out for a ride like nobody's ever been ridden before. Terrible. But we have a very strong relationship, Howard, I would say, economically with China now, getting much better. They have to give us magnets. If they don't give us magnets, then we have to charge them 200% tariff or something, But we're not going to have a problem, I don't think, with that. I think that's perhaps behind us. China intelligently went and they sort of took a monopoly of the world's magnets. And nobody needed magnets until they convinced everybody 20 years ago, let's all do magnets. There were many other ways that the world could have gone. But so it'll take us probably a year to have them. We're heavy into the world of magnets now, only from a national security standpoint. But we have a powerful thing. It's airplane parts. They have many Boeing jets. They had 200 jets that didn't fly. And I've sent them all, based on his word, I sent them all of the parts so their planes can fly. I could have held them back. I didn't do that because of the relationship I have. And their planes are now flying. We had 200 of their planes were unable to fly because we were not giving them Boeing parts purposely, because they weren't giving us magnets. Therefore, we weren't giving them. But we have a much more powerful thing that's tariffs. If we wanted to put 100%, 200% tariffs on, we wouldn't do any business with China. And, it would be okay, too, if we had to. But the magnets...
Imagine translating this. Do you think people are listening and they're like, dude, this translator is crazy? And they don't believe... Is the U.S. president actually saying this? Why is this... Fuck you. Wait, is this working for anybody? Yes, no, yes. Yes. No. No, it has no sound.
Strong relationship.
Oh boy.
Powerful movements in history are fueled
Got anyone you want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker?
chilling with the captains? Like, I don't understand.
Fucking down. They are on the morally right side. And Frank died before she could resist.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization. I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
Now, it could go tomorrow.
Did you say Anne Frank died before she could resist? I don't know if that was a fever dream.
I'm still not sure what I want this channel to be, so I'm just going to chase subjects that catch my interest. And right now,
Regardless of the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
right now I want to talk about Hasan. I've mainly known Hasan through the clips that get passed around on social media when he says something inflammatory.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization. I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
Or dumb.
Which we have no proof for.
Or inflammatory and dumb.
I believe what the Houthis are doing in terms of stopping Israel doing a genocide to implement a blockade on the Red Sea is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. They're on the morally right side.
And his go-to responses are that they're taken out of context, or people just don't get it, or you're a Zionist Nazi. And it doesn't line up at all with his appearances in mainstream media. He's got a much cleaner and more approachable personality. So much so that he's even referred to himself as
Zoomer NPR.
So I decided I wanted to take a look and see what Zoomer NPR was really like. For 1 week, I would watch Hasan stream, start to finish, and report back what I learned. Let's see how Zoomer NPR stacks up to regular NPR.
What? Is that an actual quote by him? Nice. Based.
Black South Asian prosecutor, hashtag Black South Asian prosecutor, hashtag.
I've made a terrible mistake. I really don't like this meme that Democrats just use diversity to paper over institutions without substantively changing them, especially when you compare them to Republicans. All you need to do is take a look to see that they are very different. Trying to critique by calling out something as tokenization becomes its own form of tokenization because you misunderstand the circumstances and deny the agency of the people who choose to be a part of those systems. How far are we into this? 5 minutes. Video game me and a Minecraft. The actual stream starts. He spends about 30 minutes talking about his last basketball game.
With hydration, especially, you know?
Alright, that's fine, I guess. We're easing in. Streaming is a more casual form of content. What's first? Stable Ronaldo was told he's in a sundown town.
Question, is this a sundown town? Oh yeah, like 9 o'clock.
What is a stable Ronaldo? Shows the audience some green books he has, that's fine, but we're now 45 minutes in. Can we get to the news? We're on Twitter. Why are we on Twitter?
GOP comms director throwing a Roman. Wait, that is the GOP comms director?
He's letting us know there's Nazis on Twitter, and they're white women.
Her name is literally Mary Jane Trumper. Party Haley McAnally? Haley McAnally.
Guys, there are white women Nazis on Twitter, and they have funny names.
White ladies that did not have like any sort of interesting personality quirks would just be like a regular run-of-the-mill Republican. Now, they just hit the Sig Heil.
He calls out libs of TikTok for being a Nazi despite being Jewish.
The people that did that historically did the Holocaust. Yeah, World War II was just a meme. Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Let's move on from all these fucking freaks and weirdos.
We're an hour and 15 minutes in now. Where's the news? Why is Zoomer NPR just a curated Twitter feed of Nazis? And we're looking at more Twitter Nazis. Who are these guys?
Some Nazis lose to today's football match in Rivne, Ukraine.
They're Ukrainian Twitter Nazis, specifically the Azov Battalion, which leads into Hasan giving his point of view on what Ukraine should be doing for peace.
I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than what the fuck is going on currently. But there is under no circumstances a reasonable justification for Russia invading Ukraine, a sovereign power. Donbass is different than Crimea, and Crimea is an annexation that is, in my opinion, justifiable. It is a part of Russia, okay?
Finally, the news. They're talking about Texas trying to redistrict in order to push Democrats out of their seats. Hasan lets the clip run without giving any meaningful commentary.
Gavin Newsom is a fake demon. He really is. He really is. He's a fake demon. Gavin Newsom's major problem in California is public transit and the housing market. I fucking despise him. I think he's a demon. I guess the silver lining here in a weird, twisted way is that means that like elections will happen.
I need to explain something. It's not a defense of the Israeli state to say that when you criticize Israel, you should be accurate. Obfuscating reality for the sake of vilifying your enemy makes it harder to actually deal with issues on the ground because you waste time disentangling fact from fiction. That is a truth that goes in both directions. And for a government that will enthusiastically pounce on any scrap of misinformation to discredit the entirety of a criticism, you need to be sure you're giving them no opportunity. Make sense? Cool. While Hakeem Jeffries talks to Wolf Blitzer about needing to get more aid into Gaza, Hasan can only focus on the fact that apparently they're both funded by AIPAC.
Spokesperson Wolf Blitzer is interviewing current AIPAC-funded politician.
Orders are in priority.
Nothing to see here, man. Just
an Israeli who's...
Holy fuck. It's not Zoomer NPR, it's just left-wing Fox News. Oh no.
Grandparents were kidnapped, one of them was murdered, is saying that they need to end the war, and his chat is calling him a Nazi. Again, this person has family that was killed by Hamas on October 7th.
Jesus Christ.
And they seem repulsed by him. They should be thanking him. Instead, they're self-righteously alienating the people they need to get the fighting to stop. Then he watches a John Oliver segment and criticizes John for not covering Gaza more.
He was noticeably absent from the conversation.
But that's all we get before he gets stunlocked by a chatter who says they were in the IDF in Gaza.
I've been to Gaza several times.
He proceeds to call him a Nazi and Israel Nazis doing a Holocaust for the next 30 minutes.
You are literally a terrorist, brother. Fucking terrorist. You are defending a Nazi state's Nazi military. You are a fucking terrorist. I'm a fucking adult. I can handle this conversation. Listen, you don't understand it. Mein family, mein Vater, mein Mutig. We do not hate the Jews. We do not hate them. I did go to Gaza. I didn't.
What? What was that for?
Shoot anyone. I didn't kill anyone. I've guarded. That's all. Yeah, I'm just a guard, man. I'm just a camp guard. Were you just following orders, dude? $0 and 0 cents for you to just like be quiet. You know about the Holocaust. Your bitch ass and your fucking family came from Russia to Israel. How is that appropriate? The fucking Palestinian has been living there for generations. The fucking and your fucking family came from Russia to Israel. How is that appropriate? The fucking Palestinian has been living there for generations. Your ass came from Russia. How is this anything but Nazi fucking ideology? Jewish supremacist attitude. Israel is built on the principles of Zionism, okay? Which is, as I repeated, is built Nazi fucking ideology. Jewish supremacist attitude. Israel is built on the principles of Zionism, okay? Which is, as I repeated, a Nazi ideology.
You know that like there was like a whole ass kingdom of Israel like 2000 or whatever years ago. Right? That was like a real place. That's not like a fantasy land, right? That was like a real place that really existed in that part of the world, right? That was like a real actual place. Why does nobody ask these people like how do you think the Arabs got there? I feel like they never.
Asking me if Israel should exist is like asking should Nazi Germany exist.
Okay. What? Okay, we're finally off Israel, thank God. And we're on to Zoran Mamdani. Okay, Fox News doesn't like him, and he spent the next 30 minutes shitting on Dems.
With the pepperoni nips. This is the best Elizabeth Warren tweet, and it's not even Elizabeth Warren, it's Donald Trump's tweet about Elizabeth Warren. And
now we're learning about Hasan's Twitter beef with Drew Pavlov.
I've been to Israel 3 times.
Okay, now we're on to Trump is putting tariffs on India. No, he's still talking about
Drew Pavlov is literally about to go to jail. And I think he got like a $1,000.
Okay, now it looks like he's talking about the news. That's nice. Anyway, he finally hits play on the video and he walks away. First comment when he comes back.
It's kind of pointing to.
It seems like India no longer lying, and my heart goes out to the Hindutva fascists. I feel like they probably thought that like Modi and Trump were literally the best friends on the planet. Like no one is a closer friend to India than Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's been cut in half. Yeah, I unsheathed my katana. I just did my special move. Yeah, I cut him in half. Your anti-Semitic sword, yeah.
But then he uses Twitter in order to explain the tariffs.
We're the ones paying those taxes, you dumb fuck. Yeah, you go to buy a bed on Amazon that was made in Vietnam. The bed is now sailor could buy ahead against the tariff increase and can't do that into perpetuity. Tariffs make sense if you do this strategically.
Okay, another piece of critical news. Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they reported honestly on his dismal job numbers.
That's one new job right there. True. But also that's one layoff plus a new job. So I think it cancels itself out. Next month's jobs report, 1 million jobs. You love it. You love to see it. America's hot.
We then spend the last hour of the stream on 2 separate Fox and Friends interviews with TikTok influencers who give male fashion advice and female dating advice respectively. And then the stream ends. Day 1 over. What did we learn? Claudette Colvin. What did we learn?
What is this? What does green books mean? The movie? It's the Hamas book. He showed his green books. Oh, okay.
Claudette Colvin was born September 5th.
I don't know if that was a reference. Gotcha.
1939 in Montgomery, Alabama. While in high school, she joined the NAACP Youth Council, where she would meet another Montgomery native, Rosa Parks. All right, another day. Let's get... Okay, what's going on today?
I watched the first episode of King of the Hill. It was all right.
He's going to debate Charlie Kirk.
Dartmouth, where I'm going to be debating Charlie Kirk.
And apparently Epstein had a photo with Castro. He's really disappointed about that.
How the fuck does he have a photo with Fidel, bro? This hurts. This hurts so much more. This hurts so much more than Chomsky. Hated some of y'all's faves are going to be implicated. Like
first news story: Sarah Huckabee Sanders visits the Western Wall.
Literally, this is the one thing about Judaism that I do not know. Like, I mean, I've learned deep lore on this broadcast about Sukkot, about the citrus, about the stick and the tent. It's just the holy wall. I don't know. Wait, what the fuck? You don't know either? How do you...
Wait, am I retarded? Isn't the Western Wall, isn't this supposed to be the like the last remaining wall of the Second Temple or whatever before it was destroyed by invaders. Yeah, okay, I feel like this is like one of the most popular holy relics in all of Jerusalem, and it's literally outside of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound or whatever. How do you not know? wait, what this is? No, how do you know the deep lore and have never heard of the Western Wall? Okay.
About the stick and the tent is just a holy wall. I don't know. Wait, what the fuck? You don't know either? How do you not know? You're Jewish. Why do Christians go there and like cry and stuff? I'm gonna be real. It's not much. It's the outside wall of the Second Temple.
Wait, how could you not know that? Wait, what?
This is the Temple Mount, mega holy, great place to pray.
How has he been doing commentary on Israel-Palestine for so long and he
years.
doesn't know about the Western Wall?
It's like one of the most popular holy relics, maybe the like most contested one, because if the entire Temple Mount area, if that was all given to Palestinians in some kind of like land exchange or deal, while Arabs have held it in the past, I believe Jews are never allowed to go and visit. But when Israel holds it, they let the Arabs go and pray in the mosque or whatever, but then the Jews can also visit the Western Wall. This is one of Israel's arguments for why they should be in control of, or at least like the administrator of it, basically.
It's one of the main points of contention and
Teach me, brother, what made the wall wail so bad? Your mom rode a massive dildo. I don't know why they called it the way. Are they just sad because the temple got destroyed, I guess, maybe? That's my guess. I don't know why it's called the Wailing Wall or why they cry about it.
Negotiations for the two-state solution.
It's just a wall, man. Calm down. Like, politicians are doing the classic, like, we're going to Israel to show how fucking, to show how much we love Israel.
It's just a wall? I mean, couldn't you just tell all the people that go to that Al-Aqsa mosque, like, it's just a mosque, bro? Like, go build another one?
Routine, that's it.
Okay, an hour and 20 minutes in, actual news. Trump is on the roof.
Oh, he's getting up there.
Doesn't do any investigating, just thinks it's funny.
Do a flip!
Anything about the dementia-addled president who's killing millions of people around the world by cutting USAID and facilitating the genocide in Gaza needs more scrutiny? No? Okay. But Trump and Harris were the same.
What is this? It follows 2014?
Epstein comes up. That's a problem squarely on Trump, right? No, Republicans are subpoenaing Democrats, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. He spends the majority of time on them instead.
The WAC administers the Al-Aqsa destiny, not Israel. Well, Israel's in control of it, and they allow the Jordanian WAC or whatever to, like, administer the inside of the compound or whatever.
It's funny.
Bill Clinton can do the funniest thing. I'm just saying. Take it all down, baby. Come on. Come on.
Destiny, if they dig, they will find the historical records of the historic Israeli kingdom, blah, blah. It's the most contentious part, lol. Well, that's it. I think that's like deeper lore. But yeah, there's a lot of Muslims that deny the fact that there was ever a temple there. I believe even, I think Mahmoud Abbas even denies it. I think it might be like a Palestinian, you have to. It's like part of the thing. But a lot of them say there were never Jews there. That's why anytime any digging happens in the area, people get super ass pain. Because if the Jews were to find like actual geological evidence of there being an older temple, I think like half the fucking Muslim population has to kill themselves or whatever.
Mutually assured pedophilia destruction.
He's upset that Cory Booker doesn't want to endorse Zohran Mamdani.
He had no issues pumping Mayor Adams. This is all about Israel, 100%.
And we're back to Israel because he's corrupt because of AIPAC.
And Israel is not even just about Israel. Israel is about democracy. AIPAC money is consequential. It is important, especially at a time like this. In late recording, Cory Booker says he and AIPAC president text message back and forth like teenagers.
Dude, how much do these people talk about Jews? What the fuck? Destiny, what's stopping them from actually digging properly? Politics. It would cause a huge uproar. It would be there'd be a lot of problems, so they just don't.
AIPAC is simply a representation, tip of the iceberg, in terms of how pervasive Israeli lobbying efforts are and how pervasive Israeli influence is in American politics.
This is Professor John Mearsheimer. He's a political science professor at the University of Chicago. In 2007, he wrote a book called The Israel Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy, which was about the Israel lobby and U.S. foreign policy. The argument of the book is that Israel leads American foreign policy in the Middle East at America's expense. Not quite Mossad did 9/11, but it's still pretty inflammatory. Today, he's going to tell us about the Greater Israel Project. Greater Israel is the idea that Israel has a religious compulsion to conquer the land from the Nile River in Egypt to the Euphrates in Syria and Iraq, along with the entirety of Lebanon and a large chunk of Saudi Arabia. This is despite the fact that Israel hasn't done any conquering, even with its projection of military force. Israel has gone into Lebanon multiple times and left. It gave Egypt the Sinai for peace. Jordan administers Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. And despite bombing Syria, the IDF has actively removed Israelis who have tried to set up settlements across the border. This does not make West Bank settlements minor in comparison, nor is it excusable for the way that it has made reconciliation needlessly harder. The point is that it lacks historical evidence that Israel's plan has been to rip up peace agreements with its neighbors and start a war on 5 fronts, with manpower it doesn't have, to seize territory it cannot hold, with military aid it won't get, unless he thinks that the US would be willing to help with that because of the Israel lobby. So
AIPAC, baby.
I'm gonna listen to this guy talk about Greater Israel, okay? Where is he talking about this? We spent 2 hours listening to Tucker Carlson's podcast uncritically. Hasan will tell you that Tucker is a fascist.
Tucker Carlson is not an ally, and I will explain to you why over and over again.
He'll just also tell you he agrees with everything they're talking about.
Everything from here on out, he's cooking with gas. He's 100% correct.
And not once will he ever consider putting those two thoughts together. Remember that one time Tucker Carlson had on?
Adolf Hitler is firing off radio broadcasts, giving speeches, trying to get the message to these people that Germany does not want to fight you. Churchill wanted a war. I don't begrudge him that.
This is serial doxer, harasser, and all-around awful human being, Bad Empanada.
Stupid name, stupid unit. The noted terrorist, Menachem Begin, whose name I surely mispronounced, but I mean, modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
Hasan won't correct that little obvious anti-Semitic.
What does that mean? It's a constructed language. Are there languages that are like natural to humankind that aren't constructed? What does that mean?
Tidbit, but his chat certainly seems to like it. But he will correct one thing.
Ronald Reagan was an extremely Trumpish president. He was just better on camera than Trump is because he was an actor and Trump isn't. And
Wrong! Donald Trump is a TV guy as well, and that's the reason why he's very telegenic and very charismatic. I disagree with Bad Empanada.
Nobody's seen anything like it, even though they've done it twice before. And in a certain way, it almost looks like they've abandoned the state. It looks very bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Zoomer NPR, everyone. Oh my God, we're finally done with Tucker. I have no more energy.
Do you have notes on the Greater Israel stuff? No, because it's retarded. It's not even worth taking. There's no notes to even take. It's just it's a retard theory, like by retards and for retards.
Now we're at RFK banning mRNA vaccines, which is really, really bad.
Oh my God. Am I crazy? Isn't mRNA research like literally working to cure cancer? A Jeffrey Epstein associate is molesting the field of...
Go from RFK ending what might be one of the biggest public health advancements since the inception of modern vaccines, back to being happy because Trump is going after Adam Schiff.
Oh my God.
part of that is...
Oh my God. Senator Adam Schiff under federal criminal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud violations. Oh my God, I hope they arrest him. Oh my God, I hope he goes to prison. Yeah, this is political. Sure, I don't care. Lock him up. Lock him up. I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice. This motherfucker got like $6 million from AIPAC. Shifty Schiff.
He reads the full Trump social media post about Schiff. Then he reads another full Trump tweet, this time about the Doge kid named Big Balls getting mugged, and completely glosses over the part where Trump talks about federalizing DC because of a fact he finds out about the attackers.
One of them is a girl?
Western Wall, people pray there. Israel wants territory with no capacity to maintain it, and they're Nazis. Trump abusing power, worth it to hurt Dems. Based!
Claudette Colvin used the buses in Montgomery to get to school and back home. The buses back then were segregated, meaning that if a white passenger boarded, they were given priority for the front of the bus, and black passengers had to go to the back. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette was riding home when a white passenger boarded and she was told to move. She refused, and so the bus driver called the police and she was arrested. 9 months later, Rosa Parks would be arrested for the same offense. Alright, what fresh hell awaits me today? So he begins with streamer and YouTube drama. I don't care, you don't care, let's not care together. He calls out Twitter as a Nazi site, which he continues to use.
Then you got Elon Musk buying Twitter and then making Twitter into this like fucking neo-Nazi breeding ground. So now people are just like, oh, I don't like someone, let's dox them, let's swat them, let's go after their whole fucking family. And it's basically turning the entirety of discourse into this like incredibly fucked process.
He says the country Georgia,
I'm not very familiar with Georgia,
wants to join the EU because they're Christian, but they look Turkish, so they get the anti-Turkish racism and not the anti-Slav Polish racism.
Georgians look fucking Turkish.
Okie dokie then. I feel like there's some backstory here he could elaborate on to not make that seem like a bizarre tangent.
You know?
Where is... Excuse me, the anti-Turkish racism? These guys that are in that are in NATO that seem to enjoy pretty broad support from the rest of the world whenever it matters? Like, wait, where is all this Turkish oppression happening at? Am I missing something? Wait, what?
No.
But instead, we look at an article in the New Republic about Hasan. He says the media hits about him are coming because the media was objectively wrong about the election and not because he's paying for PR.
No, it's probably because public perception on Israel, Palestine,
and Israel. How could I forget? Once again, we almost skipped the news, but we are sidetracked back to Twitter for a Fox News video about an ICE raid.
There is no real democratic process here.
That's going to be a new theme here.
Companies don't actually care about any of this shit either. They never cared about woke.
Quick aside about companies not caring about woke. You might think rainbow capitalism is a cheap way to get public sentiment on the side of corporations so you'll buy stuff. And you're right. It's also a good thing that public sentiment is on the side of inclusivity and empathy to the point that it would make people feel motivated enough to buy stuff, which, if you believe we live in a hyper-consumer society, would be the highest form of love.
And I said that at the time. I was like, this is all fake bullshit anyway.
Finally, we reached the news.
Right, we're going to start off with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Fuck me, we're back to Twitter. So that he can call Trump powerful for punishing corporations.
He'll just be like, I'm revoking your federal contracts.
He criticizes the Trump administration for prioritizing ICE over the affordability crisis.
The fucking affordability crisis.
He says America could be a force for good.
I mean, it always sucked, but it never sucked this hard. America could be a force for good.
And uses China as a comparison.
Like China does this, China does that. China has like incredible social repression. And then refusing to look at any of the good things that the Chinese government has done. High-speed rail, constant focus on like developing American infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Force for good equals infrastructure. 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 Excuse me, I need to go do something.
On the things that we fantasize China is doing with regular frequency, some of which it is doing, and many others it's not even doing, that we're doing here.
Okay, I'm back. And now we've actually finally reached the news.
Ghislaine Maxwell, who is definitely a trustworthy individual, by the way. Trump could just be like, I'm innocent. I told Ghislaine Maxwell to literally say I'm innocent. What comes of that? The only way that there would be movement in a positive direction on this issue is if like people got so mad that he like openly admitted this, that there were fucking riots on the streets and his base was participating in the riots. It would not be because the Democrats have pushed for like an impeachment or some shit like that. We only have one another. You have no trust in liberal institutions. I mean, I want to trust them, but how can you? And the Democrat Party's complacency.
They talked about Texas Dems leaving the state in the clip you were watching not even 10 minutes ago. Weren't you listening? Oh yeah, I guess not.
Corruption has always existed in American politics. When you let go of the aesthetic, all of a sudden people are like, well, wait a minute, this is fucking criminal. This is a criminal enterprise. What the hell's going on? And people get mad.
Chatter actually calls him out for his both sides. And what's his response?
You are becoming a smaller and smaller sliver of society. Like the idea that this was somehow the left's responsibility. Like, no, actually the left was pushing the Democrats to fight. Myself included in this.
Of course, bud.
Look at the Democrats now. They're not fighting.
Democrats who left the state.
That's why people voted for Trump, because they want to change.
He was already president once, Hasan. Why do you think the cheers at Harris rallies were for "we're not going back"? The framing of this moment is so perfect.
They have no dream of a better tomorrow. They have no design for a well-functioning society that actually does right by every single American. So they don't communicate that at all. You're just the lighter version of Republicans. Great. I don't want that. We know Jeffrey Epstein might be related to foreign intelligence, but is certainly not Chinese, okay? The foreign intelligence that Jeffrey Epstein is...
We're back to... Wait, this has to be like a supercut. There's no way he talks about Jews this much on stream, right? This is wild.
Associated with is Israeli intelligence.
Sorry. For the last 10 years, Republicans have been...
Am I becoming a Turkish racist? Wait, because Anna and Cenk do the same shit. Is there like a Turkish communication network or something where they get the talking points? What the fuck?
Hyping themselves up on QAnon conspiracy theories of a secret government pedophile ring. And now the left is doing the same thing.
Okay.
Fantastic. We watch Mark Maron talks about Austin, Texas, calling Californians who move there the Israelis of Americans.
Californians are really the Israelis of America?
Anna is Armenian. Doesn't matter. She's been captured by Turkish interests on the Young Turks, the network named after the group responsible for genociding her ancestors. We need critical support for the Greeks, okay? We need more Malakas on stream ASAP, all right? Exclusively. We will be exclusively platforming Greek creators, all right? We need to take back Constantinople, all right?
Calling Californians who move there the Israelis of Americans.
Californians are really the Israelis of America? True. 24 karat gold. It's gross. It's so perfect for Trump. You say, is this a fucking W for the admin or a W for the country?
We lost them if we had
it
the
depends. Only time will tell. We're ruining the remaining water supply. We're just poisoning people. We're fucking burning the planet to the ground so that people can make so people can jerk off to grok.
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous.
It really seems like he should have more qualms about an authoritarian attempting to unilaterally seize territory, but...
I will defend big balls I will defend his balls. I will defend him against unruly teenagers who beat his ass.
And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
Trump calls his connection to a known sex trafficker bullshit. In the Oval Office, mind you. Hasan says nothing because he's not listening.
Tim Cook.
Now we're on to the story of a Utah state senator who's trying to change the age of consent to help one of his family members who was charged with
These
pedophilia.
motherfuckers are real demons, bro.
So apparently a Republican demon is helping a family member get away with pedophilia, but a Democrat demon doesn't build trains. And now let's get ready for all of that Republican criticism to leave the viewer's mind because we've reached everybody's favorite topic.
Oh, Israel-Palestine, yes!
I just want to point out how gross it is that he's not paying attention to a video about starving Gazan children as he eats.
For malnutrition. Tempers flare on the streets of Tel Aviv.
Okay, that's... Wait, this looks like a guy I talked to. Oh, it's all Mert. What?
Favorite topic.
Causes.
I just want to point out how gross it is that he's not paying attention to a video about starving Gazan children as he eats.
Tempers flare on the streets of Tel Aviv.
Okay, bro.
The person Hasan just flipped off is Ehud Olmert, who served as Israel's prime minister from 2006 to 2009, so right after the Second Intifada. And even he is saying Israel is committing war crimes and that the war needs to end, but Hasan brushes him off as well.
Israel literally doing the final solution in broad daylight. And you got the most aggressive critic of Benjamin Netanyahu still trying to save face for some indecipherable reason. Just be honest, man, that it's not even just about Israel any longer. It is about democracy. The Israeli military officials, the generals, were routinely saying there is no military solution to Hamas. There is no military solution to Hamas. We cannot militarily defeat Hamas.
Further evidence of Israeli Nazism is generals publicly disagreeing with their leader's intended military campaign.
Hamas is just an idea. Palestinian sovereignty. Yeah, Fred Hampton said it best. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution.
It's just using a figure.
What? Hamas is the revolution now? What?
Who was left-wing and explicitly non-violent to launder a right-wing, theocratic, authoritarian group's mission is just really gross.
The term anti-Semite not having a serious consequential impact any longer has allowed actual fucking virulent anti-Semites to become major propagandists, engaging in reputation laundering.
I didn't expect Hasan to make my argument for me.
Fucking farm the table, baby. That's right. Locally grown, organic bathtub RPGs that they fucking use on the Israeli tank. Electronic Intifada does an assessment report every fucking day.
Wait, did we watch Hasan on a stream? Did he believe that video where supposedly the people in Gaza were hand making sniper rifles? Did he believe that video? Does he think? Yes. Oh my god. Honestly, RPGs, if I had to guess, an RPG is probably easier to make than a sniper rifle, huh? Could they make RPG? What do you even need for an RPG? Just a tube, right? The artisan sniper rifles? Yeah, Jesus.
Hey, almost. I, of course, can't play them on the broadcast.
Nothing to see here, just Zoomer NPR casually telling his audience where to find videos of Hamas putting together booby traps to ambush IDF soldiers, along with footage of the subsequent attacks.
It is literally not only the legal thing for the Palestinians to do, which is...
He keeps leaning on this, and it's not true. You cannot kill people or wage war like this. It's not okay. You're not allowed to do that. He says this over and over again. No one will ever challenge him on it, but you can't. That's not legal. You can't do that.
To smoke the Israeli occupying force soldiers that are sitting inside of their fucking armored personnel carriers, okay, that are currently conducting a fucking ethnic cleansing campaign. It is also the moral thing for them to do. The double Monty, both legal and moral.
But that doesn't absolve the fact that October 7th was horrific. That doesn't...
Oh, he did.
A video that came out of how Hamas produces their own motherfucking sniper rifles called the Qassam Ghul sniper rifle, which is derived from the Iranian AM-50 Sayyad. These motherfuckers are making artisanal bathtub sniper rifles, man. That's crazy. Is that COD?
Like, where are they setting up outside in the Gaza Strip that's under surveillance? Wait, did I make it back fast enough? Sorry, I accidentally hit the power button on my computer. Hello, can you hear me? Nope, fuck you.
That's crazy. It's basically like the YouTube videos I watch regularly, but they aren't making guns usually, but the machinery, wow, so good, genuinely impressed, not necessarily in a good way by what Hamas has been capable of. Mechanical engineer here to make an entire sniper rifle on a 1940s manual lathe is insane levels of work and precision, incredible. We will continue killing your soldiers by our locally manufactured snipers. Wow, there's a little message for the Americans out there as well.
Doesn't absolve the fact of what happened in those kibbutzes.
You just genuinely don't think Palestinians are human beings. Even if you have a fucking Palestinian niece, okay, you must not think that your Palestinian niece is a human. If you are still talking about October 7, you just want to give permission to Israel to do the genocide, but what? You're too ashamed to stand 10 toes down and say it. I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than what the fuck is going on currently.
The transphobic joke is a nice touch.
She actually went through gender confirmation. Yeah, Sargon of Mossad.
Next, we watch a video of a guy asking people if they're Hasan fans. This takes 45 minutes. Then we're onto a video about drama with the YouTuber Mudahar. Then Chris Cuomo thinking AI AOC is A-OK. And finally, it's over. What did I learn today? That migraines hurt a lot. I'm going to go lie down and think on my sins.
Dusty, I'm a little behind on stream, but I need you to understand that the Jews did 9/11 as the accepted narrative in MENA, which is Middle East, North Africa. There isn't a backdoor media machine making people believe anti-Semitic shit. It's just how the internet have evolved because of MENA people participating more and more in Western media circles through immigration or just penetrating Western online communities. Huh. It wouldn't surprise me if the average, like MENA Arab or Muslim person believe that. I don't know how true it is for like Western world like immigrants. I'm not sure, but okay. Epstein used by Israel for blackmail. Israel. Nazis using Epstein evidence for blackmail. Nazis. Democrats corrupt, ineffective. All right.
Birmingham, Alabama was referred to by Martin Luther King Jr. as the most segregated city in America. Efforts at nonviolent protest against the city's segregation culminated in the 1963 Children's Crusade, when nonviolent student protesters were met with high-pressure fire hoses and attack dogs at the behest of City Commissioner of Public Safety, Eugene Bull Connor. Day 4. Alright, I know this...
Wait, was his middle name actually Bull? I thought his nickname was the Bull. Was his middle name actually Bull? Why would you do that to a kid?
Song can't get any... I don't care. I don't care.
Mr.
I don't
Beast
care.
is confirmed to be a Mossad PSYOP plant.
An American who served in the IDF had their car torched. He assumes that Israel planted the story to get sympathy.
I assume that they thought that they could get like Israel could get like a good coverage out of this. It's so dumb. There is no power on the left. There is no institutional representation for the left.
He watches an interview with Mike Huckabee. I see we're getting to Israel earlier this stream.
I mean, this is a true religious zealot. First of all, he's the ambassador to Israel, not Jewish, evangelical Christian. Important to notice. Important to mention. This is the real backbone of the unconditional support to Israel's genocide. There are edge cases. There are ultra-Zionist Jews in this country, certainly, okay? And they fund the Trump campaign. Some of them also fund Democrats as well. You got AIPAC, all the shit. These guys are the real base for pro-Israel politics in this country.
And now Fox News interviews Netanyahu. I'm sure this is going to be an extremely productive use of Hasan's time.
Oh, brother. Oh, my Lord.
It's all the same stuff he's already been saying.
This is illegal, by the way, under international law. Everything Israel does is illegal. Israel is an illegal entity, okay? Every single day, he behaves like a man who's caught fucking children, okay, in the archives of like Unit 8200's basement or something. As I've said over and over again, there is no real democracy in America. Reservists are killing themselves with regular frequency because they're like, we killed too many children and I can't deal with it any longer. I'm gonna kill myself. And now your numbers are diminishing. The enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going.
Wait, what is this? Jenk's most epic rant yet. Oh, wait, what?
That's why it's deeply ironic when they keep throwing around that anti-Semitic word, right? Which now means absolutely nothing. They ruined that word. It used to mean something, now it means heroic fighter for peace. Because if you fight for peace, they're gonna call you an anti-Semite, guaranteed, guaranteed. And they're gonna say it 2 billion times over, because this is a one-trick pony, and they're giant liars, and all they love to do is smear everyone else. They're like, oh, don't ignore our genocide. The real problem is people criticizing us. They're so evil and hateful. You know what, everybody's sick of that. We're vomiting that word. We can't stand it anymore. Now when anybody uses the word anti-Semite, they're almost definitely a racist. Because they're the ones who say, no, yeah, Israeli children are the most precious children in the world. I think Israeli children are as precious as every child on the planet Earth. I hope none of them ever get hurt, right? Now we say the same thing for about Palestinian children. They're like, no, you're an anti-Semite if you don't agree that we should have murdered 20,000 of their kids. You hate Palestinians. You're a deeply racist, nearly psychotic person at this point. So I'm done with any Israeli supporter still defending the starvation of children. And what they've done to Jewish culture, is sickening. Holocaust survivor spoke out eloquently against it today. We're going to share that later in the show. In the world, Yuval Harari is an Israeli, and he said,
"Stop! I tried to open a program and it almost killed my computer." Wait, are you here? Can you hear me? Hello. Catch up. Sorry. When I pushed the power button before, it closed a whole bunch of programs. I tried to open one again and now it almost killed my computer. I'm here. Calm down.
You're a deeply racist, nearly psychotic person at this point. So I'm done with any Israeli supporter still defending the starvation of children. And what they've done to Jewish culture.
Wait, are we good or is it fucked?
Is sickening. Holocaust survivor spoke out eloquently against it today. We're going to share that later in the show with you guys. My favorite author in the world, Yuval Harari, is an Israeli. And he said they're destroying our culture.
We can hear you, but the screen is frozen. Wait, hold on 1 second.
Culture used to be for openness and caring about the underdog and the victims, and that's absolutely true. Jewish people in this country have been wonderful to me throughout my life. They were the leaders of the civil rights movement in a lot of ways, because why? They wanted to step up for other people who were abused, etc. Now Israel has turned that culture into an oppressor culture, a racist culture, a culture who's just indifferent to other people's pain, other people's suffering. And all they do is lie. Every word out of an Israeli government official is a lie. So no, the Israeli government leaders are deeply evil. And now if you're still supporting them when the entire rest of the world says, yes, it's definitely a famine. Yes, you're definitely starving the children to death. Yes, you've definitely murdered 62,000 of them. It's an 83% civilian kill ratio, one of the worst in modern history, worse than Bosnia, worse than Sudan, worse than Aleppo and the butcher of Damascus. Assad butchered those people in Aleppo. That was a 59% civilian kill ratio. Hamas was a 67% kill ratio, civilian kill ratio on October 7th. Israel's at an 83% civilian kill ratio. They're butchering civilians.
Wait, people are audio in and out. Audio is fine, refresh. No audio.
Kill ratio on October 7th. If you're an anti-Semite show with
works fine for me. Refresh. You're retarded.
And from the Jewish people, that's heartbreaking for what they've gone through. Now Israel's inflicting on others, and I can't stand it anymore. And if you're a person of decency and any kind of moral conscience, you have to do everything in your power to get them to stop. It's like we're living in the middle of the Holocaust now, and the biggest debate we're having is, have we offended the Germans too much?
Who cares if we offend the Germans? We should be going to war against the Germans in the middle of the Holocaust, and we did. We're worried about the Israeli feelings? Are you insane? Children are literally going to starve to death today because of the goddamn Israelis, and that is a fact. And if you say, oh no, I found a real problem here. Jake said goddamn Israelis. That's an anti-Semite. My feelings are hurt. I don't care about your feelings. And your feelings are racist. Say, oh yeah, Palestinians murder their kids. Who cares? They're not human. You're a racist. You're a sick person. Don't you ever say anti-Semite. Don't you ever talk about bigotry. Don't you ever talk about anything. If you're not fighting to end this genocide right now, you're a monster. You're a deeply evil, immoral person, and I don't care what you think. Oh no, I get to say that I'm the only one who's pure. Anyone who criticizes me, fire them, arrest them. They're doing it today, guys. The stupid Trump administration. We're gonna review 55 million visas. In case anyone is criticizing Israel, they'll be removed from the country. And finally, that's the last part of it. Israel controls America. Saying anything otherwise is absurd. It's counterfactual.
That's the donor class.
How could in the middle of a famine, forced famine, all of these dead children, 98% of our government is still kissing Israel's ass? It's pro-genocide. I accuse them of being deeply immoral scumbags. Oh, where's the money? Where's the money? Our politicians sicken me. And our media, oh no. Congressional hearings on anti-Semitism. Protect the poor Israelis. The real problem is how you guys are offending the Israelis. No, the politicians, they're not crooks. They're ignore the AIPAC money. If you say AIPAC money, oh, that's it, you're hateful. You don't, shut up. Lie on behalf of Israel. You have to lie on behalf of Israel. That's what mainstream media says. If you work at mainstream media and you still haven't called it a genocide, you're a coward. You're a sniveling, immoral, deeply evil coward. I'm sick of the people in power in this country using it to abuse people. They never help us. They never help us. We've given Israel $310 billion. And then Israel comes and says, you owe us. You owe us. Are you kidding me? We don't owe you a goddamn thing. We should cut off Israel. They're not an ally. Let's be clear about it. No one has gotten us in more trouble. No one has caused more harm. No one has caused more wars in my lifetime than Israel. Israel is not our ally. At this point, they are our enemy. They take money from us. They incriminate us to the whole world. They implicate us in their immoral war crimes. No one has hurt this country more than Israel has. Israel is our top enemy. Enemy. Cut off the goddamn funding. You're taking my money to murder Palestinian children. You goddamn racist. That's how I feel about it. Young Turks. Every time you ring the bell below. Of course!
Thank you, Cenk. This always strikes me as the perfect example of the ultra-globalization of politics, where a millionaire Turkish socialist living in America who is completely unaffected by a conflict in the Middle East says that any mainstream media agent in the West who has not called the conflict a genocide is a racist Nazi. True! Very globalized. All right. Anyway, back to this guy.
Going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. They also realize that when you do that baby murder and you then fucking fly out of Israel to go somewhere, people look at you and go, you were in the IDF? Oh, so you're a baby killer. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck?
We did something that no army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the...
There was one army that did that. The Nazis. What is this? Mike from PA just spent 5 hours.
That no army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the...
There was one army that did that. The Nazis. What is this? Mike from PA just spent 5 hours apologizing for using the word demonic. Yeah, look, I'm not speaking on his situation, but the Israeli Defense Force is conducting a genocide. I'm not saying an entire ethnicity of people or even an entire nation.
I like how he gives no cover to his fucking orbiters. Oh my God.
Of people are demonic or anything like that. So don't try to fucking slam words into my mouth. The enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck? Overseas, but are worried about their safety. Recommendation include: don't make your Israeli identity obvious. Don't wear shirts with Hebrew, and think twice before walking with a kippah or tzitzit, garments that are worn by religious males. Don't tell strangers that you're Israeli or Jewish. Don't post your travel plans on social media or revealing information / post about your trip in real time. I'll leave you with just one question. Is there any country that needs to warn its citizens to hide their identity when traveling overseas? There is currently, as it stands, okay, there are countries that I suspect do this. Russians probably, to a certain degree, do this. Americans also experience a level of shame, so they will claim that they're Canadian or whatever. But you're doing a genocide.
Just as a heads up, now I don't know if this has changed in the past year or two. I know that like Americans love to do this like self-flagellation thing of like, oh, the whole world, blah, blah. Prior to, now I've heard things have been a little bit differently ever since Vance gave that unhinged speech a year ago. There is no place you go in the world, or at least that I ever traveled, where people are like, oh, you're an American? What a horrible, terrible thing. I've never in my life experienced this. I don't believe that this actually happened. Maybe if you were to go to like fucking like some place we just bombed or whatever, or maybe in like, I'm sure there are some countries that hate us. But I've never seen it. Like, well, like people act like you go to Europe, you have to like hide the fact that you're from America. When you're going to like Germany or France, or like this is not the case, okay?
Like, what do you mean? Of course there is going to be enmity. Of course there is going to be anger and resentment. You are a Nazi country doing a Holocaust in real time and simultaneously crying about how anti-Semitic people are for not letting you do your Holocaust with loud cheers. The fuck? Of course people are gonna be like, you're Israeli? Oh, gross. The fuck do you mean? What is the expectation here? Is the expectation here that like people just like cheer when they hear that you're, you know, that you're coming from the country that is now most known for baby killing? What the fuck? If you want to do reputation laundering, you have to tell the Israelis that we hear from on a daily fucking basis to stop saying Hitlerian shit in Hebrew, okay?
What?
Obviously, first and foremost, if there was a tremendous number
In Israel,
of
too,
Israelis,
on the streets
specifically
of Tel Aviv,
Israeli Jews,
those
that were
protesting
literally
Israel
on the
heading
streets,
into Hamas
actively
strongholds
tampering
could
the
be
initiatives of the
catastrophic for hostages
IOF,
still being-
okay? It would be a little bit more defensible. But that doesn't even fucking exist. It's like marginal. Half of them are in this chat right now. It's fucking ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. All the indicators they warn about are religious or Hebrew.
Modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
For your sanity as well as mine, let's abridge this a smidge more.
Every defender of Israel has one speed. Overly litigious crybabies.
Applies Ezra Klein is racist for asking Mahmoud Khalil about October 7th.
I was, when people were like, oh, Ezra Klein interviewed Mahmoud Khalil, I was like, oh, he probably didn't do the condom hummus shit at this point, right? It turns out, no, he did do that.
He gets excited about the decor for the UAE meeting with Putin, talking about the architecture and the table more than anything else.
Grandiose behavior and like massive halls and shit still kind of hits. You gotta have a weird fucking table.
And I don't want any questions about the table.
If you're gonna have a combo like this, it's gotta be on a table like that.
Tables!
I am anti-Putin. I do wish, however, we had like similar weird shit. Fancy ornaments that people literally fucking toiled away making and probably died in the process of building, okay? That's what I mean. There's like a history associated with this.
We do have that in this country, Hasan. You're just not gonna like the examples of it.
The country has literally no history nor culture aside from Gunburger. No, I know.
We read an article about Ukrainian support for the war effort, and he calls Ukraine a fleshlight. That's nice.
As a fleshlight. I didn't say that. You want to know why I didn't say that? Because I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty. Analysis: Putin's claim that war on Ukraine is the target Nazis is absurd. Here's why. What is this? This is my analysis too. It's so fucking stupid. I've never lent credence to Putin's idiotic claim that like he was denazifying Ukraine.
What?
Let me see here. Just some Nazi salutes to today's football match in Rivne, Ukraine.
It's incredibly important. And somehow I feel like on the left,
Hey, it's
I don't
me.
know how this happened online. Maybe it's because we tend to be younger or whatever. But somehow the party's messaging apparatus, it feels like it's gotten hijacked from people, by people who...
Hasan proves Destiny's point here about the destructiveness of leftist influencers.
Oh, this guy fucked up by including any. Now Hasan can just write this whole thing off as just a Destiny fanboy. Rip.
The Democratic Party changes and actually becomes an active fighting party, a party that actually cares about its citizens, a party that actually cares about its voters, a party that is actually predisposed with like improving people's lives.
After 45 minutes of Destiny, there's another 45 minutes of stream, but it's worthless fluff, and I want to do something productive to counterbalance the neurological atrophy I'm experiencing, so...
Your job is a grift, you do it well. I'm a grift engineer.
What?
Fake nutting? It's like mech anally? Yeah. What are you gonna do, bro? I just don't get it. You're Jewish.
You're Jewish. Why don't I have that on my soundboard? You're Jewish.
Yeah. What these are doing?
Do I have that?
Yelling with the
Fucking moron! You racist piece of...
with hydration. And Frank, Floyd Mahara, my dad and my mom, I freaking all of it. Americans deserve 9/11.
Oh, that's a cake! Kill Rick Scott.
Fucking desire.
children.
Yep.
That a lot of them.
Went through a horrifying process of sterilization. 28th Hamas charter actually dictates they want 1967 boundaries. Hamas wants a two-state solution. They are the motherfuckers that have been trying to do peace. They are. They 100% are.
Wait, Hamas wants a two-state solution? Where was that quote from? What?
Google, the Hannibal Directive drill was originally founded as a national socialist. They are a Nazi, fucking Nazi.
All of the time.
You want to tell that people in Israel to go back to where they came from? This is where they're from. They were forced to go to Israel.
They could right now. They can go tomorrow.
Really? The Iraqi Jews can go back to.
I simply press the button and incinerator. They got a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds wearing sandals, running up to $30 million fucking pieces of equipment and dumping an IED in there, going, Kobe!
Anything and everything, all of the time. Could I interest you in everything?
Nazis.
Hasan's constant use of Nazi and Holocaust are not meant to evoke comparison and devastation. He very specifically, intentionally, provocatively invokes the Holocaust because of its relationship to Israel and Jewish pain to tear it out of the historical narrative of Israel as a justification for its founding and frame it as an excuse for its current war and therefore retroactively apply the current war to the entirety of its history. True! He wants Israel to be bookended by genocide to say that its existence is a perpetual and unjustifiable crime, that it was a continuation of the Nazis and the Holocaust instead of it being the best means, least bad, way for Jews to survive prior and in the aftermath.
Anything and everything, all of the time. Could I interest you in everything?
Nazis.
The swastika sword, oh my god.
Nazis, the Nazis being Nazi Arabs are the same. It's a monolithic force of evil.
All of the time.
I interviewed Hamas and they told me, I hate Jews. I hate Jews. I want to kill Jews, said Hamas.
This is why people call me a disgusting anti-Semite.
Day 5. Come on, Hasan, hit me. Next. He's in Chicago today for the Democratic Socialist Convention to interview Rashida Tlaib.
We're here with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Wow, that was fast. It wasn't. It took an hour where nothing happens to get here. We just unironically watched someone's commute to work. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib represents Michigan's 12th district, which notably includes parts of Detroit and Dearborn. What are they going to talk about?
But the lack of really feeling like the party has their back.
Fantastic.
They wanted a campaign with Liz Cheney.
Kamala did 3 campaign stops with Liz Cheney and gave no concessions in exchange. It was entirely about the importance of stopping Trump.
I mean, I watched them botch the minimum wage and botch environmental protections.
There were constantly like a revolving villain.
Bro, if you were to watch the way that these fucking lefties talked about the Cheney shit, you would have thought that Cheney was going to be Kamala's fucking vice president. They were obsessed with that. Oh my God.
Within the Democratic Party that would consistently spoil bills.
For some reason, one Democrat voting against something is evidence of conspiracy, but every Republican voting against something is just praxis, I guess.
I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that there are people like me and others that don't take corporate PAC money. And, you know, I'm not.
I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering like the centrist Democrats who.
President Biden produced more fossil fuels than any president prior.
He did. He also used that to push construction of more renewable energy sources than at any time previously, and to exclude that denies crucial.
In all of U.S. history.
Context.
Democrats are really good about keeping power and trying to keep power, but not using power.
More shitting on Dems.
They don't give a shit about the Democratic base. The so-called, I know you call them centrists. I mean, the Republican, like, folks within the Democratic caucus. You know, I'm not.
I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering, like, the centrist Democrats.
Though unintentional, that answer is quite revealing about how she sees herself compared to the rest of the party. She's at the end of the horseshoe and she's just reaching across the aisle.
Israel's genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza.
Tlaib nods when Hasan says there's no democracy.
Because a lot of people are realizing, oh, there is no democracy at all. It doesn't matter what our voices, it doesn't matter how loud we yell.
First of all, there is no fucking strategy in genocide. Either you're against it or you're not.
Okay, but the strategy is how you stop the genocide.
I think that Ta-Nehisi Coates said it best.
Yeah.
If you can't trust them to stop a genocide, what makes you think that they'll save democracy here in America?
Saving democracy is not the job of politicians. It's the job of the electorate. Every time people elect someone who doesn't seek to subvert the democratic process, they are saving democracy.
What I like to call woke dual loyalty, where you're just like, oh, this person is Jewish. Of course they love Israel. And that's a good thing. Versus what someone like a neo-Nazi says, oh, of course those people love Israel. And that's a bad thing because they're Jewish.
Democrats are really just trying to get the power back, right? The gavel. But they're not going to use that power when it comes in. It's going to be the same. Being engaged, no matter if it's the voting, because voting, it should be voting plus. I just don't want you to feel like there's no place for you all to be able to use your voice and push back.
I'm scared of the word intifada. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. Like,
no one is scared of a college student shouting intifada. But people are rightly insulted that they'd call upon the memory of literally over 100 suicide bombings for a protest ostensibly about peace.
Zionism is an exterminationist ideology built around ethno-religious supremacist values.
How can we say globalize the Intifada and then, well, actually, what does Intifada mean? What does Intifada mean? What does Intifada mean? Well, actually, and then it's like, Zionism is an ethno-religious supremacist ideology, 100% Hitlerian, Nazi-ish, relies on and requires the extermination and oppression of other people. And this, like, okay.
So when people say like, oh, well, I'm a liberal Zionist, like, what do you mean? It's like saying you're like a liberal Nazi.
I wonder what her Jewish constituents would feel about that. The interview ends, and the funniest thing happens.
We don't really have a formal democracy at this point. We are going to elect a socialist mayor. We don't really have a formal democracy.
I'm running for re-election.
We don't really have a formal democracy. And even when we don't win,
there is no democracy at all.
Hasan meets some of his fans. After that, he meets up with the hosts of the Jam Pod for a school supply drive.
We're gonna go get some food now.
Bull Connor held significant influence in Birmingham and used it to disrupt and harass civil rights organizers. However, Connor's power was dependent on winning elections, and so Martin Luther King and others would strategize to make sure Connor would no longer stand in the way of their movement. I am so happy this stream is so short. Not even an Amias Ralph High can bring me down. We're going to be listening to an interview with Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the 80.
Oh my God. Watching Hasan try to rewrite his...
Here's
when of all the clips of Hasan just getting fucking random shit like sent to his Snapchat. Also, by the way, you're assuming that he's not communicating back and forth with these chicks. He absolutely is, but I like that he pretends that he's not. The way that he reframes this is so fucking funny.
Here's one of your friends. Here's one of your friends saying that there's nudes on your phone as like either a joke or the famous Cosmo article where I'm talking to a journalist and I'm like, oh, my fans are sending me merch, like photos of themselves wearing my merch. And then in the process of me like going through those photos, there's one that was an unsolicited nude. And I said, oop, that was a nude. And then we moved on. It's not something that I had requested, or it's not something that I'm like distributing. It's just, it's completely ridiculous. But the reason why they do this is because whenever a content creator is in trouble in any of these circles, like I am basically a magnet for deflecting attention away.
I just love how like on the nose he is about what he does with me too, right? If anytime something bad is going on, people just pull the fuck Hasan cord, and then they just try to pivot and divert to random shit that's not related at all.
And those unsolicited news aren't just from women either. There's like dudes sending me dick pics too.
Oh, so he's got little boy dicks in his Snapchat as well. The
fuck? And they basically will... anyway, as I was saying, I'm like a magnet for like some of the worst scumbags online, as you guys have seen.
Why would you even have? Listen, as the champion Coomer, even I don't have a public open Snapchat. Why would you even have? That actually seems really weird to me. Is there? Why? That's just such a weird thing to. Unless you just want. Well, unless we. Wait, fuck. Maybe I should have a public Snapchat.
So they'll immediately go, well, Hasan has done this. It's actually worse what he's done. And it's like not the same thing at all.
It was just one time that it was a joke and it doesn't even happen. And okay, dude.
BL. Ah, boy.
A little bit worried.
It's all the same talking points. The last 5 days, he's just saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm extremely tempted to just roll through, but...
Once the British Empire took over British Mandate Palestine, they basically engaged in a settler colonial operation by sending as many Jewish people to this area as they possibly could.
That's not even remotely true, but okay.
And they did that for a deliberate purpose, to create a settler colony.
That's also not even remotely true, but okay.
Could be controlled and maintained in this resource-rich region.
What are the resources in fucking Israel? This is the shittiest piece of shit. What do they want? The Jaffa oranges? What are they trying to extract from them? What?
So to begin, the Balfour...
What, they want the sand for when they started making microprocessors 100 years later? Wait, what the fuck? What are they trying to get?
Declaration of 1917, named for Sir Arthur Balfour, was Britain's written support for the creation of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Prior to this, there were waves of Zionist immigration from across Europe wherein Jews would purchase land, sometimes at multiple times its true value, and maintain it themselves. In some places, this meant draining of swamps and marshlands in order to make it habitable and cultivate farmland. In other places, this meant the eviction of Arabs who had been working that land, sometimes for generations. This created tension that was exacerbated by the Balfour Declaration and coupled with rising Arab nationalism as the British took control of what would become Mandatory Palestine from the Ottoman Empire after the end of World War I. Not all Jews thought Zionism was the right way to go. Despite rising European nationalism and violence committed against them, many European Jews thought that assimilation would bring equality. To put it bluntly, they were wrong. It's not easy to just come down and say that the Zionists who bought land and kicked out the people who lived there were correct, and the people who were now without their means of livelihood just had to suck it up. However, there was no perfect means, especially back then, for Jews to find a place to settle. Immigration quotas in America meant that Jews would not be able to reach it, which would continue to impact them after and even during the Holocaust. And the fact that Europe would eventually become exterminationist toward which would continue to impact them after and even during the Holocaust.
Fuck, what was the name of the boat? I should remember it. Is this a picture of that? I should remember this. There was a boat that was headed to, I think it was headed to the Palestine, to Mandatory Palestine is what it was still called, and it got turned back with all the Jew people on it. This is the Titanic? Or what? Are you guys just typing this? There's a name for a famous ship that got turned around, and then when they turned it around, I'm pretty sure all those people got off the boat and then went right to the right to the camps. I don't know why I'm laughing. That's so funny. I'm not thinking of the USS Liberty. Shut the fuck up. Now you're gonna make me look it up. Boat full of... Oh, wait. The MS St. Louis. Under the command of Captain Gustav Schroeder, Goebbels, Schroeder, I don't know, Schroeder, we'll call him Schroeder. St. Louis set sail from Hamburg, where the hamburgers come from, to Havana, Cuba, where my mom comes from, on May 13th, 1939, carrying 937 passengers, most of them Jewish refugees, seeking asylum from Nazi persecution in Germany. Captain Schroeder was a German who went to great lengths to ensure dignified treatment for his passengers. Food served included items subject to rationing in Germany, and childcare was available when parents dined. Dances and concerts were put on Friday evenings. Religious services were held in the room. A bust of Hitler was covered by a tablecloth. Okay. Swimming lessons took place in the pool. On reaching Cuba, they were denied entry to the usual docking areas. Cuban government didn't accept them. Only 28 passengers were allowed to disembark in Cuba. Then he directed the St. Louis, remaining 907 refugees towards the United States. He circled off the coast of Florida, hoping for permission from authorities to enter the U.S. Neither Hull nor U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt chose to intervene to admit the refugees. Captain Schroeder considered running the St. Louis aground along the coast to allow the refugees to escape, but acting on Hull's instructions, United States Coast Guard vessels shadowed the ship and prevented this. After it was turned away from the U.S., a group of academics and clergy in Canada tried to persuade Prime Minister William Lyon Mackenzie King to provide sanctuary to the passengers. The ship could have reached Halifax, Nova Scotia in 2 days. The director of Canada's immigration branch, Frederick Blair, was hostile to Jewish... Damn, bro, Jews got... Damn, they really do hate you motherfuckers everywhere. At one point, he made plans to wreck the ship on the British coast to force the government to take the passengers as refugees. Jesus. After much negotiation by Schroeder, the remaining 619 passengers were also allowed to disembark at Antwerp. 224 were accepted by France, 214 by Belgium, and 181 by the Netherlands. The ship returned to Hamburg without any passengers the following year after the Battle of France and the Nazi occupation of Belgium, France, and the Netherlands in May of 1940. All the Jews in those countries were subject to high risk, including the recent refugees. Jesus. Based on the survival rates for Jews in various countries during the war and deportations, historians have estimated that 180 of the St. Louis refugees in France, 152 of those in Belgium, and 60 of those in the Netherlands survived the Holocaust, including the passengers landed in England. Of the original 936 refugees, roughly 709 survived the war and 227 died. Damn. Wait, is this even the boat I was thinking of? Or am I thinking of a different one? I wonder how many of these there were. Well, rip.
Holocaust. And the fact that Europe would eventually become exterminationist towards the Jews meant that going to mandatory Palestine wasn't just the best option, it would have been the only option. But this was still Britain promising land it did not own to people who did not live there. Of course people would be pissed. Now World War II is happening and the world is splitting apart across Allied and Axis lines. Germany seeks a partnership with Egypt, and so Britain, in an effort to sway Arab states towards their side, basically retract the Balfour Declaration and promise Palestine to them instead. Britain issues another formal statement, the 1939 White Paper, announcing that they would no longer seek to make a Jewish state in Palestine, and they would restrict Jewish immigration. They did this in 1939. Now everyone's pissed because Jews are trying to escape Europe and Arabs are trying to regain control of their land, and the British are playing both sides. To say that this was all just so Britain could extract resources like Belgium and the Congo is reductive to the point of being meaningless. The limited number of Jews going to Palestine even after the Balfour Declaration were not enough to make managing the region worth it, and the Jews going there were not arriving as citizens of Britain in another land. Their arrival signaled that they were severing their European connections. When the French were kicked out of Algeria, they could go back to France. For Jews in the 30s and 40s, where could they go?
So you're wrong about that. That's why I don't even like the language of diaspora. Because like after a certain point, if you have your roots set here in the United States of America for so many goddamn generations, like you're fucking American, you know? Zionism existed along the same time as a lot of other Jewish forms of self-governance. We had leftist Bundism at the same time. It was competing with a ton of other ideologies and was never inherently going to succeed. It did so because of external factors like Balfour. And then of course, obviously supercharged after the Holocaust too. Because then there were plenty of Jews that were genuinely considered statesless and had withstood incredible violence at that point. Which, by the way, if you want to understand what Zionism is, look at the genocide in Gaza, because that's...
It's like he realized he just unintentionally made the argument for Zionism.
So look, the reality is that intermarriage rates continue to go up. Assimilation continues apace.
This Nazi shit. This is shit that white supremacists say. Okay? How ironic that after a fucking century of Jews are doing the great replacement to taint the pure white race, now you got a Jewish dude literally saying that about Jews.
No, he's talking about being worried that the culture is going to disappear, that eventually the number of self-described Jews will decrease. The man supports Trump. Call him a white supremacist for that, not for having a preference towards people in his culture marrying within it, the way a lot of cultures already do. Anyway, from there on, it's his greatest hits until he leaves. He licks the bean. Ick.
Yeah, it is off. Yeah.
He goes back to his hotel room and does more Israel news.
I'm gonna go wash my hands and pee.
And when an Arab Jew gets interviewed about Gaza, something interesting happens.
We need to finish now all the terror. If the name is Hamas, now we must.
Dude, that's so funny. Like this dude is an unk, bro. He looks identical to like half of the fucking Uber drivers we met today. You know he's Arab too. I mean Jewish, but Arab Jewish.
Bro, are you okay?
That's not an unk, that's a Nazi. No, I'm just saying that like this is the insidious nature of fascist ideology over an imaginary boundary that was fucking placed. Like there ain't no way you'd know. Until he opened his mouth, you would never know.
Hasan actually pushes back.
Arab is not a race. We do not claim these people. They are not Arab. Stop saying they're Arab. It's revolting, frankly. I mean, they literally are. What are you talking about? They're from fucking Arab countries. They just...
Which is where most of the Jews that live in Israel today are from Arab countries, but...
happen to be Jewish. And now they're advocating for the fucking ethnic slaughter of all Arabs, all Palestinians, but just Arabs as a whole, really.
He actually has to tell...
all of them? All 2 billion? How many Arabs are there? How many Arabs on the planet? Oh, 500 million. My bad. I think there's like 2 billion, what, Muslims? All of them. Well, Israel would be happy to blow the Turks up too. Let's be real.
Tell his chat to calm down.
Also, chat need to calm down. That person is Arab. The person who's reacting is like me saying, is like a Latino person responding to me being like, Nicolas Fuentes is not Latino, bro. He's not Hispanic. Call him something else. That's what that person is saying. Like that dude is 100% an Arab Jew, right? 100%.
This is the audience you have cultivated, Hasan. They're following your orders.
Children in Gaza have been paying, the highest price for this unrelenting war that they have played no part in.
Channel 12 said that they need 250,000 reservists to permanently militarily occupy the Gaza Strip. They, I don't think, have the capabilities of maintaining interior security and occupation.
250,000 reservists? How many people are in the entirety of the IDF, even with the forced conscription? How many soldiers are in the IDF? Google AI tells me 170,000 active personnel and 465,000 reserve personnel. Are you automatically a reserve if you are, if you did your conscription? That's like 10% of the population that can serve, right? If Israel proper is like 9 million people minus the 2 million Arabs that don't have to do IDF stuff. So you have like 700,000 total military people from a population of like 7 million eligible people. That's an insane percentage of
in the West
your
Bank
population.
and an occupation in Gaza.
Real quick, can we go back to the logistics of Greater Israel and maintaining those borders? Then we're on to people getting arrested at a pro-Palestine protest.
In a wheelchair. I think I'm going to end it here.
True.
I'm made of rubber.
Israel.
What is that? What anime is that with the kid? Is that the Houthi one? One Piece?
Is directly at war with the truth. Israel's not even allowing Western press and Western media to enter the Gaza Strip. I mean, this is disgusting, right? This is like blatant Nazi propaganda. It's Holocaust denial.
Nazi.
If Israel's standards for what constitutes a valid military target was
Is
applied.
this really all he does? All day, every day? It's either me or the Jews?
Understand what this dynamic used to be like when you would say, I'm sure like if you were to tell people you're Palestinian, they'd be like, what do you mean, like Pakistan? Like, I don't understand, right? Like it was not even a thing that people knew about. It was
Wait, what the fuck?
People were purposely blindsided or...
Is this everything? Is this the only thing he talks about? 24/7 on stream?
Then you can't...
Read the title?
Degree, of course. The violence.
Israel double taps hospital. Doctor from Gaza in the building. Kilmar detained. And peek later with friends.
Oh my God, America's allies attacked. What are you doing? But slowly but surely, they started coming to that recognition and they started learning more about the history of Palestinians, the vibrant society that Palestine used to be. And
what? Vibrant society? Bro, they weren't even... There was not jack shit there in the prior to, let's be real now. Come on, really?
Like yourself as well is very inspirational. And I think when you go out and speak about your own experiences, you say anything that happened on October 7th is a fucking war crime. Like literally, what do you mean? You could literally justify nuking Tel Aviv by that same standard if the ADL can't stop.
I'm sorry, wait. Didn't Hasan just get ultra mad at me for saying you could justify something about him based on what he said? Did he just say you could justify nuking Tel Aviv?
What do you mean? You could literally justify nuking Tel Aviv by that same standard if the ADL can't stop me from getting placement in mainstream media outlets and magazines and fucking newspapers and whatnot, then it means that it's over. That's mostly to like a younger audience that wants to feel smart and therefore they can't like actually broach the subject matter that's like dense and too complicated for them to comprehend. So they just like watch someone basically summarize the worst version of events and get their notes from that. That's just like children's entertainment.
It's got to be so boring. How can you watch this shit all day, every day?
Congratulations!
Claudette Colvin isn't remembered in history as the brave young woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. Despite being a victim as much as anyone else of an unjust law, civil rights leaders felt that using Colvin's story would pull attention towards her character and away from the unconstitutionally segregated bus system. Rosa Parks would stage her refusal to give up a seat because it would create a narrative that would...
Ooh, this was true. I feel like I remember reading about this because they do look for like good victims for, yeah.
It's harder to discredit. Martin Luther King Jr. delayed protests in Birmingham more than once to avoid swinging the 1963 mayoral election towards Bull Connor, an extremist segregationist, so that the less extreme segregationist Albert Feltwell would win. Fighting injustice is, in itself, an injustice. It requires bearing witness to the pain and suffering you want to prevent, as much as it requires taking action to end it. It takes incredible resolve, all for the sake of gaining the institutional power necessary to create systemic change that can last beyond one protest, one riot, one prison sentence. And at the heart of that resolve is compromise, with the people you want to save and the people who are hurting them. Because ultimately, institutional power has to be ceded voluntarily for it to have legitimacy to the broader public. Fighting injustice is, in itself, an injustice. That's the lesson I want you to take away from this. Not that you're going to be disappointed with the results of your effort, but that your effort can actually change things for the better. Hasan promotes a worldview where you are morally obligated to reject compromise and coalition building because you somehow take on the sins of your allies. Hasan has spoken about Israel and Palestine near enough every day since October 7th, never changing the script, and despite having an audience larger than some entire US states, the most he has achieved is a couple of fundraisers. He has interviewed congresswomen and senator and mayoral candidate, but he cannot muster any genuine influence on policy via himself or his audience. He will talk at length about the influence of right-wing media and how Democrats need to use the same tactics as Trump, but he never actually puts those two things together as a form of concrete action. He just lets his audience fester in directionless rage, cheering whenever someone else does something violent that they can get some vicarious catharsis from.
And Kobe!
And screaming whenever someone says, how about we stop fighting, because it doesn't give them the same kind of dopamine hit. Criticizing Trump isn't enough to counterbalance that kind of ideological dysfunction.
I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice.
He can and has called Trump a Nazi, but that line of attack carries no weight without creating a clear difference between Trump being a Nazi
Oh, he's getting up there.
and Israel being Nazis. And all of this comes at the expense of people in the United States who now have to endure another 4 years of Trump, and hopefully just another 4, and the Palestinians who now have to endure a much more brutal conflict between Israel and Hamas. Regardless of if you think the left caused terrorists the 2024 election, Hasan's message helps no one but Hasan, and that's the point. Political drama can be entertainment as a vehicle to keep people informed, but Hasan is using actual human lives for political drama that only serves as a vehicle to keep people paying attention to him, attention he doesn't even reciprocate. You are not obligated to...
I'm sorry to say it, but you do a tiny bit of this sometimes too. You don't be the media you want to see. You watch Fox. Sorry. There's a difference between watching the news of what's going on every day to keep track of the political events of the day versus covering the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over. It's not like there's like new shit that's come out. It's literally the exact same talking points about Israel-Palestine for 2 years.
To psychologically flagellate yourself to the sin of being born in one place any more than a Palestinian needs to get killed for being born in another. You are self-harming to feel less guilty about a situation you don't have control over, and Hasan is enabling and encouraging it in order to make money. He courts a following of young people eager to engage with politics as a means to fix the world, and then uses the cover of real injustices to launder his extremism.
They got a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds wearing sandals, running up to $30 million fucking pieces of equipment and dumping an IED in there, going, I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty.
He puts his hatred of Israel over and above the real grave danger the Palestinian people are in as they experience starvation, oppression, and injustice as they are trapped between a group that sees them as a necessary sacrifice at the altar of Israel's destruction, and the military being led by someone who needs the war to continue to avoid going to prison. Hasan doesn't get rich like a capitalist by exploiting workers and overcharging for a product. He gets rich by exploiting his viewers' energy, the real effort that they could put into improving the world by convincing them that watching his streams is of equal value to engaging in a political system.
If you give up now, as pressure is mounting, instead of still continuously trying to get more people on board.
Because his streams do nothing, and he tells them that the system does nothing.
There is no real democratic process here.
And despite numerous terms of service violations,
what the fuck are you gonna do, bro?
He's still standing because of the value he has for Twitch and the relationship he has with Dan Clancy specifically.
Bro, we're never beating the Hasan runs Twitch allegations after this.
But at this point, it's gone too far, and Twitch has turned a blind eye for too long. So here it is, front and center.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Shut up! Go back to Auschwitz! MK Lambert, thank you for the 50 gift subs.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Yeah. Remember 9/11. Shut up, go back to Auschwitz. Remember 9/11.
Welcome to Hasan. Yeah.
Jews live all around the fucking world. That's why, even as an ethno-religion, okay, the reason why there are Jews from all different places on the planet is because there are just Jewish people that come from different sub-ethnic backgrounds, like subgroups. There are Arab Jews, there are Spanish Jews, there's Western European Jews and Eastern European Jews. I mean, yeah, you got Ethiopian Jews, you got Jews in Uganda, bro. You got Chinese Jews, there are Jews everywhere, you know? It's like Jewish self-determination. It's like saying white self-determination. Oh, I don't get it. Like, I just want white self-determination. Why can't I do a homeland for whites? Regardless of the history of marginalization and pogroms and even the Holocaust, I am oversimplifying it because I'm trying to explain it to people.
What? So is Israel an ethno state or like a fake ethno state if the Jewish ethnicity is not real, or what is the? It's all the buzzwords.